What's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor, always coming to tell you a little bit what's going on my mind. And today we are going to talk about how to get people out of prison or jails. It's one of the biggest misconceptions that 8505s, 8507, evaluations, and just placement, it's always misconstrued. Everybody thinks that they understand, but a lot of times people call me, they really have no clue of the process. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a series on all of the aspects of helping your family members, yourself, or just anyone that is looking to get out of prison or jail due to a substance or mental health issue. And this video today is going to look at the difference between an 8505, 8507, but explain what an 8505 court-ordered treatment evaluation really looks like and how to go about it. I'm going to walk through the first 7 days of an 8505 process. Before I get into that, make sure that you subscribe. Always love to hear your comments, and if you have any feedback, you can always give me a call in my office at 301-732-5857, and I would love to answer any questions you have at that point. So here we go. First of all, an 8505 is an evaluation for treatment when someone has been accused of some type of crime. The 8505 is only used whenever they believe that substance or mental health was the direct cause of the problem that got that person in trouble. The 8507 is after the 8505, and it is to place the person into treatment during the time of their sentence. So a lot of the things that come about is, and I'm going to explain to you what 8505, all that means. So let's say someone gets incarcerated or they get in trouble. A lot of times people think that they need to be incarcerated to get an 8505. That is false. You don't have to be in an incarcerated building to get an 8505. There was many times that I would do these assessments before they would even go into a incarcerated situation. There are many different avenues for an 8505. The main thing, and I'm going to walk you through the first 7 days of an 8505 so that you can clearly understand the process that you're going to have to go through. So I have the screen in the back, and I'm going to explain kind of what happens during this 8505. Here we go. All right. The first part of the 8505 is the evaluation request. In order to get the evaluation request, it must be given by the defendant or the attorney. I'm going to do a video that shows the difference between a public defender and a private lawyer in trying to get an 8505 request, because there's a lot of things that people think is true but it's not. So I'll go into that a little later. But let's just say an attorney. An attorney must request. Now, a lot of times people think that you can only get one 8505 in your lifetime. That's false. You can have as many as you want. But the request has to come from a lawyer. You cannot supersede that. It normally has to come from the defendant. Normally, the state is not going to give you 8505 unless you are requesting for it. Second thing is that once it's been requested, then the judge, the state, everyone kind of chimes in to decide whether or not this is going to be an acceptable protocol for the sentence. Now you got to understand, an 8505 evaluation, an 8507 placement does not take that person out of being incarcerated. What you're doing is now the state, the Department of Health, is now carrying your sentence. So at any point, if you get kicked out of this process, you will re-enter and you will still be in in the middle of your charge. So an 8505, 8507 is not a get out of jail free card. All right. So the evaluator from the state has 7 days to provide the results of the assessment. So what happens? So the judge sends the request to MDH. At this point, the 7 days starts. And this is right here. So what happens is they review the order and make sure that all the information is correct. Make sure that the birth date's correct. All the demographical issues are solid. Once they do that, then they go in, they look at they start to review for clearance. When people don't understand really what clearance is whether or not a person's a gang member. Can't go into you cannot go into an 8507 placement being in a gang. Second of all, the placement for 8507, you can't have any open detainers in any other county or any other state. If you do, you will now be disqualified from an 8505 evaluation. Now, once they investigate your status and they deem you to be clear, at that point, then we are going to notify all of the participants, the state, the judge, and your attorney, whether or not you are clear. Most times this is very quick. It's just a simple discussion. A lot of times this doesn't even really make that big of a deal. But so now once the clearance has been set, then we move over to the scheduling of the evaluation. The evaluation is going to be either scheduled whether you are incarcerated or you're out of incarceration. If you're out of incarceration, then someone probably from your health department will be contacting you to do the evaluation. If you're incarcerated, then someone in the correctional facility will most likely do that evaluation. Once the evaluation is done, then they have to set the level of care by the ASAM criteria. The ASAM criteria, it just pretty much says whether or not somebody meets outpatient, intensive outpatient, halfway house, inpatient, 3.3 or 3.5. Either way, at that point, most time people land at a 3.3 or 3.5 normally when they're doing this, but I have seen a 3.1 every once in a while. Once this documentation has been completed, then the evaluator sends this information to the state, to the judge, and to the attorney, and one copy gets sent to the state. Once this copy has been sent to the state, then the 7-day period has been accomplished. And you guys got to know that this 7 days is the most influential part of a person's process to going to an 8507. In the next video that I do, I'm going to explain the process of an 8507 once the 8505 has been completed. Make sure that you stay tuned for more information on how to get people released from jail with court-ordered treatment. All right? Take it easy. It's David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor. Bye.